Hello. Today it is my great pleasure to be talking about The Custom of the Country by Edith Wharton. This novel has completely changed my attitude about Edith Wharton, and that is no small thing. The Custom of the Country is a very distinctly American novel. Let's talk about the plot and the characters. We are following the protagonist, Undine Spragg, and she and her parents, they moved from Apex to New York City because Undine is determined to get the most out of life. That means money and nothing else. Well, no, that's not quite true. Prestige. She wants what other people have, and she's always looking upwards. She's always looking to see, like, what do they have that I don't have? If she discovers that there is a niche collection of wealthy people who have something that she is lacking, she sets about to get it. When we first meet her, she follows all the fashions because in the beginning she's a bit of an ingenue, and she's come to New York City and she knows that she needs to get the richest, most prestigious husband she can get, because that will open up all the doors to all the wealth, the respect that she wants, that she thinks she deserves, because she is beautiful. She's not an intellectual, but she's very clever. She knows how to go about getting what she wants. Not someone that you talk to and you go like, wow, they're smart. More like someone you talk to and you're like, wow, they know how to climb the ladder. And that's what Undine Spragg knows how to do better than anything else. She knows how to climb the ladder. But when we first meet her, she doesn't have any of her skills are undeveloped. She has received an invitation from one of the wealthy ladies to come and join her for lunch. It was one of those that time. And she has read that all the social girls, the fancy thing to do is to be writing your notes in white ink upon pigeon blood paper. It's a little bit fanciful, but it comes off well in the novel that she's a bit upset because the invitation she received was just regular blue ink on white paper, and she's looking at that like, well, that's not what they say in the magazines is the popular thing to do. I mean, the magazines say that pigeon blood paper with white ink is the trend, and she has this dilemma, like, shall she follow the trend, or shall she follow what the invitation has? And that is the introduction to Undine Spragg. She is a voracious social climber. And even though she's quite insatiable when it comes to money, it's not even money that she wants. She wants dresses by the dozens. She wants jewelry. And she wants, like, all the absolute finery to keep up with what she sees. If she sees that someone else has something, she must have it. But of course, she's a single woman, so the first thing she must acquire is a rich husband. Now, Undine doesn't just want a rich husband. She wants a husband from a respectable family, because in that way, she kills two birds. She's got the wealth, and then she's also got the prestigious family attributes that she has joined. And she does get that man. She gets this poor dupe. She gets married to Ralph Marvell. He is from one of those old, prestigious American New York families. The old money. She marries into that. Poor Ralph. Ralph is a bit poetic by nature, and he takes her to Europe, and he takes her to all these small Italian towns. He thinks that he's got a diamond in the rough, and he's going to teach her about culture, and he's going to educate her. Meanwhile, Ralph does not know that he's picked up a boa constrictor. He's not realized that it has already begun to devour him, because Undine is a boa constrictor without any capacity for satiation. She'll take everything you've got and then look around and say, well, where's the rest? They go off to Europe. She complains she doesn't like it. She wants to go to Paris so she can swan around. Ralph quickly has to tell her, Undine, please, can we be a little bit careful with our finances, because at the rate with which you are buying new dresses, we're going to be broke. Like, we won't even be able to afford our passage back to America. She doesn't care. Earlier in the novel, like, we get a very good glimpse of her character. She goes to her father and she says, "Oh, Daddy, I want a box at the opera." And he says, "Do you know how much that costs?" She says, "Yeah, but that's really what I want, and that's what all the other girls have, and that's how I think I can really get on socially." And he says, "Well, I'm gonna have to think about this." And he goes off to work and he comes back and he says, "All right, here you go. I got you your box at the opera." And it's ludicrously expensive. But he's done that. And this happens throughout the novel, that Undine just keeps saying to people, her father, Ralph, her next husband, "I need more money because I see things that I want to buy, and you need to supply me the money." And Undine, she has no shame. She has no fear. She has no hesitations. Like, "Daddy, husband, get me the money or I'm going to have to do something." In a way, like, the men in the novel are quite afraid of what she might do because Undine has no limits to what she might do to get the money that she thinks she deserves. That's really how she feels. She feels that she deserves it. Yeah, love this book. She has a child with Ralph, quite unfortunately, because she's very unhappy to have a baby. She feels that that is going to put a cramp on her style for 1 year and that she won't be able to go out and socialize. That's all she cares about. Ralph is basically beaten to a pulp mentally. He realizes what he's married, and he realized that this is a monster that he cannot control. Like, he tries, though. He really tries. He gives her everything, but of course with her, like, that's not enough. She wants more. They get divorced. She goes off to Europe, and now Undine meets a duke, like that New York old money Ralph Marvell family. What the hell is that? This is a duke. He's got a manor estate in the countryside. So Undine marries this guy, and she just bleeds him. Not bleeds him dry, because there's the manor estate. He has these beautiful old ancient tapestries that are worth a fortune. He does say, "All right, you can have all of the dresses you want from the Paris dressmakers," even though that costs him a fortune. Like, at this part of the novel, I was wondering to myself, like, where is she wearing all of those dresses? Because, like, she doesn't even have the chance to wear them. Like, she's only allowed to go to Paris for 2 months a year to socialize and go to the dinners. She wants more. This duke, this country house, is not enough for her. The country house is cold. She needs to keep fires going in all the rooms that she likes to occupy. She is very unhappy that the duke's younger brother has a nicer apartment in this palace. You're the older brother. Why does he have the nicer flat? She, like, voraciously insatiable. Those are the 2 words for Undine. And then a man from Undine's past shows up. His name is Elmer Moffat. And Elmer Moffat and Undine have a bit of a history, which I will not talk about. But he shows up, and he is one of the new wealthy killing it on Wall Street. And this guy he knows people in Washington. He's just one of those magnates. And she looks at this guy and she's like, "Wow, this guy has all the money." And I'll leave it there in terms of plot, but that is the story of the custom of the country, that Undine Spragg goes through Ralph Marvell, sucks everything out of him, including his optimism. She goes through this duke, this French duke, takes quite a lot of money out of him, but, you know, he's European, so she doesn't get his spirit. And she goes back to this American Elmer Moffat. So what is this novel about? This novel is really about American, not greed, but power. And what is amazing about this novel is that at the time, you know, in the late 19th century, like 1890, 1900, women had a few jobs that were available to them, notably schoolmistress, cleaning woman, nanny, were the prevalent jobs available to women before they were even allowed to vote. Undine Spragg has this unfulfillable desire to just accumulate wealth and all of the trappings that wealth can give to you. Why is that interesting, that she is so voracious? Why, like, she is so hungry for everything that money can give? Well, because Like, think about this novel if it were a man. He can rise to the top in business. He can become a business magnate. He can be a baron. He could be an absolute psychopathic monster for accumulating wealth. All those railway barons, the oil barons, those people with the famous names, the Vanderbilts and the sorry, I don't know the American names. The people that they were talking about in The Great Gatsby, those people with the enormous sums, Leonardo DiCaprio from The Aviator. If you were a man, that was okay. Like that was laudable. That's a man who goes out and gets all that wealth. But what if you're a woman and you have those same appetites and you have those same cravings for power and wealth, but you don't have the opportunity to go into a business? You don't have the opportunity to become some speculator on the stock market. Nobody takes you seriously because, you're just a woman. But you have that same crippling urge for wealth. And that's Undine Spragg. It's very easy to hate her. Like, she is a very loathsome character. But we have to read this book thinking that, like, if it were the story of a man who was just relentlessly climbing to the top, crushing anyone beneath him to get a little bit more wealth and a little bit more social position, a man would do it. And this would be a heroic story, because we all love those stories, right? Like, we are not witness to all those people who are slaving in the mines and all those people who are sweatshop workers who are working for his wealth. All we see is that, oh, look at him on the top of the pile, the goddamn Steve Jobs. This is a woman with the same appetites. Her only ability to get what she feels, as a very American citizen, to rise to the top and get that power, her only option is to marry well. And she does. She marries well. She sees the upper limits of what she has got from this marriage, and she divorces and marries into another tier. Has a look around, buys a lot of dresses, and says, well, I think there's a higher level that I can attain because she's still beautiful. Divorces that guy, marries the next guy, and he's at this, blisteringly, very close to the sun level, but it doesn't faze her. She has a limitless capacity, and she looks around, says, yeah, atmosphere's a little bit thin up here, but I think I see another level up there that I could attain. I would like to say The Custom of the Country is better than The Great Gatsby. Yeah, I know, big words. I think when a lot of people say, what is the great quintessential American novel, they think The Great Gatsby. But I think The Custom of the Country is better, because in The Great Gatsby, there's always that old money versus new money. And old money is proper and new money is flashy and uncultured. In this, The Custom of the Country, Undine Spragg is very definitely new money. And I think that is a better depiction of 20th century America. She comes in and she just, what can I get and how can I get the most of it? I would honestly and sincerely like to put in my vote that when you consider the great American novel, The Custom of the Country is better than The Great Gatsby. I'm not fooling around when I say that, and I know it's not something to say lightly, but this is really about that rise to the top. All of your social conventions, all of your old-fashioned niceties, those are all in the trash, because I'm the new up-and-coming money person. And you have nothing on me with all of your conventions. I think it is a very genuine portrayal of 20th century American attitudes. Early 20th century, yes, but you'll see all kinds of parallels with today, 21st century. God, the world sure does move quickly, doesn't it? Gatsby is very nice. It's just that it seems that in Gatsby that they're saying that old money is good. That was really the old money, and the new money was up and coming. We don't give a shit about all of your social rules and who sits where at the opera, and we want it now, and we are unstoppable. You old money people, you can't stop us because we're barging in. We're breaking down the doors, and this is the new American ideology. It is really quite true, and it is a great thing to read this novel beside The Age of Innocence, because The Age of Innocence was about like 1870 New York upper class social life where things were really, really buttoned down, prim and proper. Edith Wharton, I'm sorry I said so many disparaging things about you in the past. I've completely changed my mind and I am a fan. Edith Wharton was the first female writer ever to win the Pulitzer Prize, not for The Customer of the Country, but for The Age of Innocence. Congratulations, you deserve it. Edith Wharton was born Edith Jones. And you know that phrase, keeping up with the Joneses? That phrase comes from Edith Wharton's families because she was born already into a very wealthy, substantial family. Keeping Up with the Joneses was about Edith Wharton and her parents. She never had to write a single novel in her life. She was born rich. She would have died rich if she just had have sat on the sofa reading books like I do. But she was an intellectual. She wanted to have her own independence from her family, and so she wanted to write. And boy, did she write. She wrote a boatload of literature. There's a very peculiar story about she was seeing a fella, and they were kind of engaged, but he called off the engagement because he said that she was too smart for him and that she was too interested in intellectual activity. And so he called off the engagement, and she married a man who was, I think, 12 or 15 years her senior. It was not a very good marriage. Fortunately, she had her literature to keep her busy. And Edith Wharton has really come back into the public eye recently because they have discovered how important she is to the picture with American society and also her perspective on class, especially the upper class. She was really involved with the rich upper echelons, the sphere of people that, well, someone like me never even gets to. If I'm a bartender, I can, serve them drinks. Please read this. This is certainly going to be one of the best books that I've read this year. And it really took me by surprise because, as I said, like a couple of The Age of Innocence and The House of Mirth left me a bit cold because I don't particularly love to read about rich people. But for me, she really got it with this one because this is about all those men, Henry Ford and those guys who, those ruthless entrepreneurs. What if it was a woman with those same cravings? That's what this is all about, and it's amazing. All right, here we go. The book Raffle. So this is to get this book, this very book, and I'll even leave all those little things in there, to get this book and also to get a copy of my book, The Friend from Budapest. That's my book with my writing in it. And who is it? Jack. Ah, good. One of my supporters from Patreon who lives in America. Well, Jack, congratulations. You've got this. You've got my book. It will be coming to you shortly. I'm trying to get together a couple of packages, so I only have to go to the post office once. So this will be coming to you with all those little stickies in there. I hope that doesn't annoy you, and all the little dog ears. This is a great book, and I hope you love it as much as I did. Thank you all for watching. This is Grant Loves Books. My name is Grant. If you want to get to part of the raffle, $5 per video on Patreon, it's all there. There's a video talking about that. Thank you for watching.